Let me ask you something straight up. Why do women come back after rejecting you? It doesn't make sense, right? One moment she's telling you she's not interested, maybe even pushing you away like you don't matter. And then weeks or months later, she shows up in your messages again. Suddenly, she's acting curious, maybe even flirty, as if she hadn't just dismissed you before. And I feel like most men, this leaves you confused. You wonder, did she change her mind? Did she finally realize my value, or is she just playing games? Here's the truth from a woman's perspective. When we reject a man, it's not always best we don't feel attraction. Sometimes it's timing, sometimes it's ego, and sometimes it's about power. And when we circle back later, it's not always for the reasons you'd hope. That's the part men often misunderstand, and that's why so many guys get sucked right back into the same cycle with a woman who already told them no. See, what most men don't realize is state rejection doesn't always mean the end. Women operate differently. We can reject a man but still think about him later. We can push him away but still keep him in the back of our minds. And sometimes when he doesn't chase us anymore, that's when curiosity kicks in. That's when intuitive starts to creep back. So today I'm going to break this down for you. I'll tell you why women come back after rejecting you, what's really going on in her head, and how you should respond if it happens to you. Because the worst thing you can do is assume her return means she suddenly values you more. That's where most men fall into a trap. If you really want to understand women, listen closely, because I'm going to tell you the things most women would never admit out loud. The ego factor. Why women test their power over you. 1. The ego factor. Why women test their power over you. Here's something most men don't realize. When a woman rejects you, she still thinks about how you'll react. Rejection isn't always the end. Sometimes it's the start of a quiet test. And here's the raw truth. A woman's ego plays a bigger role in this than you think. Let me explain. When a woman tells you no, she expects you to feel some type of way about it. She expects you to be disappointed, maybe even chase her top of yourself. That reaction, whether you realize it or not, feeds her ego. It confirms that she had power over you, that her opinion of you mattered enough to shake your confidence. Now fast forward a few weeks or months, she starts wondering, does he still want me? Does he still think about me? Or did he move on without me? That curiosity doesn't come from deep attraction. It often comes from ego. A woman hates the idea of losing her power over a man who once gave her attention. So when she comes back after rejecting you, many times it's not about you, it's about her, checking if she still has that influence. I'll give you a situation so you can't really see it. Imagine you meet a woman, you vibe well, but when you ask her out, she brushes you off. Maybe she says she's not ready. Maybe she claims she's too busy. But the bottom line is she rejects you. You pull back, stop chasing, and go on with your life. The nude of nowhere, she likes your photo, sends a random, "Hey, stranger," text, or comments on something you post. Why? It's not because she suddenly realized you're her soulmate. It's because she noticed you didn't crumble when she rejected you. She noticed you didn't keep chasing. That bothers her ego, and she wants to see if she can still get a reaction from you. The tricky part is most men mistake this for real interest. They think she must like me now. Otherwise, why would she come back? But in reality, she might just be running atheist. She wants to confirm she still holds space in your mind. That's why it's so important not to confuse her ego-driven return with genuine attraction. If you respond too eagerly, you're proving that she still has control. If you stay centered, if you don't, rush to give her validation, that's when she starts seeing you differently. That's when she realizes you can't be played with. And ironically, that's when her attraction might actually grow. So, here's the takeaway. Women don't only come back because they miss you. Sometimes it's because their ego can't handle the thought of losing influence over you. The question is, are you going to feed that ego or make her respect you not falling for it? 2. When curiosity makes her miss what she rejected, curiosity makes her miss what she rejected. Here's something men often underestimate. Women are incredibly curious creatures, especially when it comes to the men we've pushed away. If a woman rejects you, that doesn't mean she shuts the door in her mind forever. In fact, sometimes rejecting You is thievery thing that makes her wonder about you later. Let me break this down. At the moment of rejection, a woman might genuinely believe you're not what she wants. Mabesh is distracted by another guy. Mabesh feels like you're too available. Or maybe she just doesn't feel that spark right away. But as time goes on, something shifts. She starts thinking, what if I made a mistake? What if I was too quick to judge? What if he's actually the kind of man I should have given more of a chance? 2. That what if is powerful. It's not necessarily about love, but about curiosity. And curiosity is often enough to pull her back into your orbit. Here's the thing. When a woman rejects Amon, she assumes he'll either keep trying or disappear. If you disappear, it creates a vacuum. And women hate unanswered questions when she can't predict you. When she doesn't know if you've moved on or if another woman has your attention, Herman starts filling in the blanks. That's where the curiosity comes in. Think of it like this. The men who constantly chase after rejection become predictable. They lose their mystery, but the man who takes rejection shrugs and keeps moving without bitterness. That man becomes interesting. He's not begging for her time. He's not waiting around like a backup plan. That forces her to rethink. It forces her to wonder what's so different about him, and that's why she comes back. Not necessarily because she suddenly wants to commit to you, but because she can't stop herself from checking if you're still available. She wants to test the waters. She wants to peek behind the curtain and see if maybe she said some things she shouldn't have. Now, here's the part you need to understand. Her curiosity doesn't equal true desire. It just means you've created uncertainty in her mind. If you confuse her curiosity for commitment, you'll end up in the same cycle of giving her energy while she decides whether you're worth it. So, if a woman who rejected you suddenly circles back, recognize what's really happening. Her mind is restless. She's curious about whether you've grown, whether you've moved on, or whether you still want her. But until her actions show consistency, effort, and genuine investment, don't assume her return means more than it really does. At the end of the day, curiosity might bring her back to your door, but only her true attraction and respect will make her stay. 3. The scarcity effect. Why distance shifts her mindset effect. Why distance shifts her mindset? There's something about human nature, and especially female psychology, that men often overlook. We value what feels scarce, what's rare feels important. And when it comes to dating, women are no different. If you were always available or she rejected you, she probably didn't see your value. But the moment you pull away, the moment your presence isn't guaranteed, that's when her mind starts to shift. This is what I call the scarcity effect. When you disappear from a woman's radar after she rejected you, you stop feeding her ego. You stop being a constant option. And suddenly she starts to feel the absence of the attention she once had. That absence creates weight. It makes her reconsider what she turned down. Now, let me be clear. This isn't always about deep love or genuine attraction at first. Sometimes it's just the psychology of loss. People crave what they feel they no longer have access to. If you once had interest in her, then pulled away completely, she feels that contrast sharply. And women hate losing something they thought was secure. Think about it. When a man is always chasing, always texting, always trying to win her back, she doesn't have under. She knows she still has him. But when he doesn't reach out, goes intrigued, doesn't care anymore, suddenly she feels a sense of scarcity, and that scarcity makes her question her decision. Here's the kicker. Women are not only attracted to men who are scarce with their attention, they respect them more. Why? Because it signals that you're not desperate. It shows you value yourself enough not to beg for validation. That self-respect is magnetic. It tells, here you have options, you have a life, and you won't revolve around someone who doesn't want you. This is why distance is so powerful. Your absence makes her face the reality that she's not as central to your world as she assumed. It makes her think about you more, not less. It creates space for her to imagine. To question whether she underestimated you. But here's the warning. Scarcity only works if it's real. If you pull back just to trick her, but deep down you're still waiting on her text, she feel that energy. Women are intuitive. We pick up on desperation, even when it's hidden. True scarcity comes from genuinely moving forward with your life. Genuinely not caring whether she comes back or not, that's when it has the strongest impact. So, why do women come back after rejecting you? Many times it's because your absence triggered the scarcity effect. You became less available, less predictable, less certain. And in that shift, she suddenly saw your value more clearly than when you were right in front of her. The real question is, when she does come back, are you going to let her in just because she feels your absence? Or will you hold her to a higher standard before giving her your attention again? 4. Control, attention, and the female psychology behind coming back. Control, attention, and the female psychology behind coming back. Here's something men rarely get told. Women crave attention more than they crave a commitment. It's not always about wanting you. It's about wanting what you give us. The energy, the validation, the sense of being desired, and this is a big reason why women come back after rejecting you. When you were showing interest, she felt in control. She knew she had a man who wanted her, who thought about her, who would probably keep trying even if she pushed a demon away. That attention was like fuel. Even if she didn't want a relationship with you, it made her feel secure knowing you were there. But when you stop giving that attention, when you stop chasing, stop calling, stop reminding her that she's on your mind, that's when the dynamic changes. Suddenly, she feels the absence of something she used to take for granted. And if you understand female psychology, you know this. Women hate losing control over a man's attention. This is why so many women resurface after rejection. It's not always because they had some revelation about your worth. Sometimes it's because they don't like the idea of you moving on. It's about control. If he can get you to respond again, Toprov, you still care, it restores that sense of power. And here's the part Mosman get trapped by. When she comes back, she doesn't even have to fully invest, she just has to test the waters. A small text, a like on social media, a casual, "Hey, how have you been?" She's not necessarily saying she wants you back, she's checking if she still has you. If you jump at it, you've given her control again. If you stay calm, neutral, and don't overinvest, you shift the power back to yourself. Men need to stop assuming every comeback is about love or attraction. Sometimes it's about herding to manage her options. She wants to know she can still pull on your strings if she feels like it. That's not romance. That's psychology, and unless you see it for what it is, you'll fall for the game. So the key here is awareness. When she reappears, don't immediately hand her the control she's looking for. Observe her actions. Is she genuinely investing time, energy, and effort into rebuilding something with you, or is she just fishing for attention? Because if it's the latter, the best thing you can do is hold your ground and not let her play with your focus. At the end of the day, women respect men who don't let their attention be controlled. If you want her to see you differently, stop giving her the easy access she's used to. Make her earn your time. That's when the balance shifts, and that's when her coming back becomes real instead of just another ego check. 5. When she wants the benefits without the commitment. When she wants the benefits without the commitment. Here's a truth a lot of men overlook. Sometimes when a woman comes back after rejecting you, it's not because she suddenly wants a real relationship. It's because she misses the benefits you gave her, the attention, the emotional support, the comfort, without actually wanting to commit to you. Think about how many times you've been that guy who was almost something to a woman. Maybe she told you she wasn't ready for a relationship, but she was always fine with you texting her, listening to her problems, or even giving her a little boost when her confidence dipped. You were valuable to her, but not in the way you wanted. And when you pulled back, that loss hit her harder than she expected. Let me paint a situation so you see it clearly. A man meets a woman, and from start, he shows her interest. She enjoys the attention. She enjoys the conversations. But when he makes his move and asks for something more, she rejects him. She says, "I'm not ready," or "I just don't see you that way." So headaches her at her word and walks away. Weeks later, she comes back. Not with avid confession or an apology, but with something casual. Maybe she texts, "Hey, how have you been?" Maybe she asks if he wants to grab coffee. The man thinks she changed her mind. She must be interested now. But here's what's really happening. She didn't come back because she's ready for him. She came back because she missed that way he made her feel. She missed the benefits, not the man himself. This is where men get stuck. They confuse a woman's need for emotional comfort with genuine attraction. Just because she wants your attention again doesn't mean she wants to give you her commitment. Sometimes it's just about filling a void until someone else takes that spot. You need to pay attention here. If she rejected you once and then returns acting friendly, but still vague about what she wants, that's a sign she's there for benefits, not for love. You'll notice she takes more than she gives. She enjoys your time, your energy, your support, but avoids giving you clarity or moving things forward. Here's the part you might not want to hear. If you allow this dynamic, you're putting yourself in the role of an emotional safety net. She doesn't value AO as the man she wants. She values you as a backup, a comfort zone. And if you're not careful, you'll end up drained, confused, and still, without the commitment you deserve. So, when a woman comes back after rejecting you, don't just ask, "Why is she here?" Ask, "What is she giving me in return?" If it's only one-sided, then you know the answer. She's not back for you, she's back for what you provide. 6. Why her return doesn't always mean attraction. Why her return doesn't always mean attraction. One of the biggest mistakes men make is assuming that if a woman comes back after rejecting them, it must mean she's attracted. Now, I want you to hear this clearly. A woman's return doesn't always equal desire. Sometimes it's about convenience, sometimes it's about loneliness, and sometimes it's just about curiosity, but it's not always about wanting you in a deeper way. You need to understand how women operate emotionally. Attraction isn't always the reason. Where appear in a man's life? Sometimes we're simply checking if the door is still open. We want to know if you still care, if you'll still respond, if you're still an option. That doesn't mean we're suddenly envisioning a future with you. It just means we like knowing we still have access. This is why it's dangerous for men to assume her message, her call, or her sudden reappearance is proof of her feelings. If you attach too much meaning to her return, you'll end up giving her energy without her giving you anything real in return. And this is where many men get stuck in a cycle of false hope. Here's what you should look at instead. Her consistency. Does she actually invest time and effort into seeing you? Does she make space for you in her life? Or is she just dropping in when it's convenient for her? A woman who truly feels attraction will show you through action, not just words or occasional BREADC, RUMBS. Another point to consider is timing. Women often come back during periods when things aren't going well in their personal lives. Maybe her relationship with another guy fell apart. Maybe she feels lonely or insecure. Maybe she just wants the reassurance of knowing you're still around. None of these reasons have to do with genuine attraction toward you. They're about her emotional needs in the moment. And here's something even more important. When a woman truly values you, she doesn't just come back without clarity. She makes her intentions clear. She'll show you that she's willing to put in effort, respect your time, and actually build something with you. If all she's giving you is vague energy and half-hearted attempts, that's not attraction. That's convenience. So, you have to learn to separate her actions from your assumptions. If she rejected you once, then reappears, don't immediately jump into thinking it means she's changed her mind in a big way. Take a step back and observe. Watch what she's actually doing, not what you hope it means. Men who understand this never get wrapped in cycles of false hope. They don't hand over attention too quickly. They don't confuse a woman's temporary turn with permanent interest. They hold their ground and make her prove through actions that she really sees their value this time. The truth is, attraction isn't about whether she came back. It's about whether she stays, invests, and shows up consistently. That's the difference between a woman who's genuinely interested and a woman who just wants to keep you on standby. The truth men don't like to hear, but need to. 7. The truth men don't like to hear but need to. Here's the reality a lot of men avoid facing. If a woman rejected you once, you have to stop treating her return like it's some kind of prize. Too many men celebrate the fact that she came back without questioning why she did. And that mindset is exactly why women feel comfortable running the cycle in the first place. I'm going to be blunt with you. If you didn't value yourself enough to filter when a woman is in your life, you'll always be at the mercy of her moods, her ego, and her games. That's not strength. That's weakness. And women, even the ones who play Thesa games, don't respect men who can't stand firm. You need to start asking yourself tower questions. When she comes back, is she adding to your life? Or is she just draining your time and emotions? Is she treating you like a man she truly respects? Or just as someone who fills her boredom when nothing else is happening? These are uncomfortable questions, but they're the ones that separate men who grow from and who stay stuck. Here's the truth from a woman's perspective. If you allow us to walk in and out of your life whenever we feel like it, we won't take you seriously. We may use you for attention, comfort, or reassurance, but deep down, we won't see you as the man we truly want. Why? Because the man women respect is the one who doesn't let his value be negotiated. Let me be real with you. Sometimes when a woman comes back, it's not because she suddenly sees your worth. It's because she didn't see your worth and she knows she can still get away with it. That's why you need to raise your standards. Stop making it easy for someone to return to you without proving anything. Stop rewarding inconsistency with your time. I know this might sting, but you need to hear it. Not every woman who comes back deserves another chance. If she left us without good reason, if she didn't value you when you were right in front of her, then her return shouldn't automatically mean she's earned a place again. That's not being harsh. That's protecting your self-respect. At the end of the day, the strongest men are theons who know they don't need to accept every woman back into their lives. They don't confuse availability with worth. They don't chase validation from someone who already dismissed them. Instead, they focus on building themselves, creating a life that naturally attracts women who are consistent, respectful, and genuine. So, here's the wake-up call. Stop celebrating her comeback. Like it's a victory. The real victory is when you value yourself enough to decide whether she even deserves another chance. That's that point where women stop testing you and start respecting you. Conclusion here's the truth. You probably won't hear from most women when we come back after rejecting you. It's not always best we suddenly realized how amazing you are. Sometimes it's ego, sometimes it's loneliness. Sometimes it's curiosity, and yes, sometimes it's genuine attraction. But the point is, you can't just assume her return equals her true desire. The mistake most men make is putting too much weight on the fact that she came back instead of paying attention to what she actually does once she's back. A woman's words, her casual, "Hey, stranger," texts, her flirty likes on social media. None of that means anything if her actions don't match. You need to stop giving women the benefit of the doubt just because they reappear. Start making them prove their interest through consistency and respect. And here's my controversial take. A man will let a woman walk in and out of his life without boundaries. Will never be truly respected by her. She might use him, she might play with him, but she'll never see him as the man she really wants. Women respect men who have standards. Men who can say, if you didn't value me before, I'm not handing myself over so easily. Now, that strength is what actually makes us think twice, and that's what flips the power dynamic. So, I want to hear from you. Have you ever had a woman come back after rejecting you? How did you handle it? Drop your experience in the comments. I'll be reading them, and I'll engage with as many of you as I can. Remember this. Her comeback isn't the prize.